Didn't really know a lot about women's rugby. So when I found out about this, I didn't really know who Mo was.
I'm not offended.
But that's, Gino was absolutely like, do you understand who is mentoring you? And I was like, oh. So I did a bit of a Google, obviously. And I was like, oh, okay, you're quite big time.
What would it mean to you if you were in the same Scottish squad? As in, you pull on the shirt together, sing the anthem together.
Yeah, like I
Quantify
think
that for me.
it would be massive.
If one day we see you carrying that ball off the bus, Scotty's going to be behind you in floods of
Crying.
tears. Yeah.
Oh.
That's my girl.
Along with both of our dads.
With the camera.
God, I should be on Snapchat then. Scotty should be Snapchat later.
Absolutely not. The inaugural season of the PWR is done and dusted. We've had our party on the pitch at Sandy Park in Exeter, and it's now time for us to wrap up one of the coolest things we have done this season. And that's our EmpowHER project in partnership with our very, very good friends at Vodafone. Our aim when we started the EmpowHER project was to help bridge the gap between uni rugby and the international game. And we're pretty chuffed with how it's gone. Some of our results, this is what we've got on the scoreboard. Durham, 3 players invited to England under-20 trials. Mackenzie Burnside, Rosie Pete, KDM's mentee, and Summer O'Brien. 6 players have been selected for Durham County. 7 are in the North East Women's 15s training squad, and many of our girls played championship with Bishop Auckland Women's 15. Edinburgh had 11 players representing in the Celtic Challenge for Edinburgh and Glasgow. 8 players in the Scotland under-20 squad for the Six Nations Summer Series. 5 students, Kieran, Nicole, Tash, Sarah Danome and Alex Stewart in the Scotland Six Nations squad, and 3 15s across Bucks and SRU development leagues. So, and then also, there was that PWR doubleheader at Sandy Park earlier in the season that had the first ever Bucks WNL doubleheader ahead of the Exeter Chiefs Loughborough game. Mo and I are here today. Hi, Mo.
Hello.
And we are joined by Mo's mentee, Em Haywood, who's come down from Cardiff. It's great to have you in the house, Em.
Thanks for joining us.
And then we are joined by our friends from north of the border. Scotland and Loughborough Lightning captain Rachel Malcolm is in the house. Hey, Scotty.
Hello.
Hi. And her mentee, Tash Logan. Hi, Tash.
Hi.
Now, you might have seen Tash in our Challenger videos from when Skazzy went to Edinburgh to go film on a very cold May day. What was that filming experience like, Tash? Why are you giggling? What's funny about it?
It was just a lot of takes had to be done.
Not for us.
The amount of fails against the others was quite surprising. I didn't think the forwards would come out on top, but we did.
Wait,
well done.
for the pass through the hands, there were
Tash
more
and
than one take?
No, there were multiple challenges.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Okay.
wasn't the only one.
And we were a dream team.
Yeah.
Nice, guys.
Now, I rattled through some Durham and Edinburgh highlights there, but Em, I think it's time for you to fly the flag for Cardiff Uni so we can celebrate some of the big wins that your girls have scored over this season.
It's been a bit of a new season for us. We've just come into the league, so it's a bit different with how we've come into it. It's been a really difficult season, but we've grown massively throughout that. And what kind of topped that off is we had our varsity game, where we absolutely smashed Swansea, which was amazing.
Go on.
But we had gone through a lot of challenge throughout the season, so to end with that was really nice. And we've actually had a couple of girls. Elle Hings just got her first under-20s Welsh cap, and Ellie Tromans is also in the squad as well. And they've played Celtic Cup and stuff. So although we don't have that kind of background, we're still breaking into those kind of areas. So hopefully over the next kind of year, it'll improve.
Class. I think it's important to note as well. So obviously the WNL is this really well-established league, has historically had 6 teams in, that hasn't really changed for a long time. Obviously Durham coming into it, but Cardiff were absolutely smashing the league below for so many years, and they've just got that promotion. But it's been pretty tough, hasn't it, on the score sheets for a lot of these games this season? Yeah,
it's been tough. It's one of those things where, like, I think a lot of the time the score doesn't reflect the game, so it will feel like some of the scores have been horrendous, but
we don't talk about them.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah,
No,
brush over that.
But also, I think, as someone who's been a part of a team here, we've gone through some patches of losing. I do think, like, if you can come out of a season where you've had scorelines like that and say, like, the performances were there. Like that is the building blocks for you to like then go on into the next. Trust me, it'll come in the next couple of seasons and push on for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think like we're completely student run, which I think is quite rare in the WNL. So we don't have any kind of external help. We organise the coaching, we organise the games, we organise everything. Everything is done through us. Like we still pay to play every week. We'll pay subs so that we can play. So we are coming from that like really kind of different area into this. But again, you know, the score's been big, but we've also put points on people. It's not just been a whitewash. So yeah, I think we're just really excited. We've been trying to get into this league for so long that now we're here. We're just happy to be here, to be honest.
And you were also in your 7th year of your PhD studies, right?
Yeah, not 7th year of my PhD, but third degree. 7th year of uni. Yeah.
Of uni?
Yeah.
So what were you doing your PhD at the moment in?
Background in sociology, but it's to do with how primary school kids use digital technology.
Wow. We're basically in the presence of 2 doctors, an almost doctor and then Dr. Rachel Malcolm, you know.
She's been giving me lots of advice.
Yeah, I was telling her. I was giving her some really quite bad advice actually, but I was like, if that goes against you, then just don't come for me.
What was the advice?
No one's going to be my PhD.
I said that nobody. One of the pieces of advice I would.
on this PhD.
I've also done one, so I get this. Well, basically, no one will ever read her PhD like she has. So don't waste time making it perfect.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Like it's 80,000 words.
It's saving me.
No
how
examiner is
many?
going to read through that all.
80,000.
And people spend like
80,000?
months making
Yeah.
it like pristine. So I was like, don't worry about doing that. Just,
Isn't that the examiner's job though?
they're not going to read 80,000 words. Trust me.
This comes from an examiner, so.
That was me gonna lose.
Say that out.
No, but basically, a thesis does not need to be perfect. So I'm sure whatever she's done is fabulous, is what I said to her.
Sorry, who decided that doing a doctorate does all doctorates you have to write 80,000 words?
No,
don't think all of them. No, it depends on the discipline.
Yeah.
Sciences are generally around that though.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
By,
I just think that's unnecessary.
just-
Sorry.
Yeah, but like it is quite a big, like it's quite a good thing.
No, it's amazing, like unbelievable that you're a doctor and you're going to be a doctor. But I think 80,000 words for nobody to read it.
No, like they do read it. That is harsh, but the expectation is not that it's perfect.
Fair.
to put it into perspective, the average relatively short book is like 40,000 words. So
Oh, right, so it's not
you're
actually that
writing
big.
like 2 books.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I don't
What's
read,
the longest
so-
book? I was
going to say.
You've read.
Where's Wally?
But also,
Your
writing,
mum read that too, you
writing
know?
in an academic style does require a lot of infrastructure. So you are wasting words all day and all night.
Yeah.
I mean, why write something in 50 words if you could use 500? So, I mean,
Yeah, fair enough.
it's part of the discipline. But I am just so impressed by you taking on a really challenging rugby year and then also still persisting with the studies, because that in and of itself is absolutely monumentous, as Elma would say.
Good word.
Tash, speaking of impressive things, you are the club's president. And you had a big year because you are doing a degree in business and you were called up to Scotland under 20s and then called into the Scotland camp during the Six Nations. And you've been mentored by one of the leaders in the world of rugby, like literally men's and women's rugby globally. There are very few captains like Rachel Malcolm.
Passion.
I mean, you've had a year of unparalleled personal growth and development on the pitch. Are you even coming to terms with it yourself at this stage?
Yeah, it was very surprising. I obviously didn't expect this much would happen even in like January, and like everything came at once, and then my degree just had to go in the back burner for a wee second while like
No
got
one
through
reads it, don't worry.
No, they read it. They read the undergrads, it's not the PhD.
like doing everything from like the Edinburgh Rugby to like going into like Scotland stuff. Like I didn't even realise I got a message from Rachel. She's like, "Are you coming in?" I was like, "Yeah, I just found out like
No,
today."
I think I spoiled the surprise.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know.
No, I know.
But no, it was really exciting, and I think it's been such like a learning year as well. And obviously, it's came at like a good time. Like I'm in my 3rd year, I've still got another year left of like developing. So no, yeah, it's all been really exciting.
Are you doing a BCom? So when you say you're doing a degree in business, what are you doing?
Business with marketing.
Okay. Wow. All right. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you're just playing like wearing so many different hats at the same time.
Yeah.
How did you end up getting mentored by Rachel? How did you strike the jackpot like
I
that?
think our dads sorted it out. No?
Yeah.
Our dads are actually very good friends.
Really?
Oh,
Actually, I found out through Tash's dad that I was going to be her mentor before you guys told me.
Before we told you,
My dad is a really loud man.
did the dad
No,
hijack?
I don't think you understand.
No, I don't. Like, Tash's dad is... You need to get him on the pod,
Unique.
actually.
Yeah.
He is a character.
Yeah, like he started crying when other people was getting their caps, the Six Nations, and he hardly know, like he didn't even know them very much. He was like, "This is so great."
oh.
He cried to me after one of the games as well. But he's what is it? He's
He's an auctioneer.
He's an auctioneer, so his voice is like
Yeah.
so loud.
Louder
I
than
remember
mine.
when we played the last game against Ireland. You know how like when you're doing the anthem, like you look up to try and find your family. And all I can see is Ali, Tash's dad, with his Scotland flag, absolutely like screaming at me like this, and I was like.
Forgot like head was just popping above like the flag.
I was, yeah, but no, I do.
Oh,
kid.
I want
he
to
didn't,
meet
he didn't
him.
sort it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had.
So had you guys met before this?
Yeah, like we knew of each other probably more than
Yeah.
knew each other. But I more through like I think I've had more we've had like selfies with each other's dads. Like I've received selfies of Tash and my dad before, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think our dad's
like so like when our dads see like.
This was not in any of the briefing documents that I got.
I don't really know why this
I'm
actually. I
really
didn't read it.
intrigued. I'm so intrigued.
So like, my dad's a bit like so right, actually it's a funny story. So my parents came out to WXV in South Africa, and not many other parents were there. So my dad would come to the warm up of our games and take pictures of everyone on his phone and send them to the other parents. And I was like, Dad, there's like there's professionals here that actually do. But they have like this parents chat. But anyway, so both our dads I think are quite into taking pictures on their phones. So if we bump into either one, then we usually get sent one.
That's so cute. Two things in this. First thing is I love that all parents are like that. So on our group chat, it's exactly the same. There's
Yeah.
a parent group chat, and there would be the worst photos ever of like someone hugging their mum and like the back of their head, and it would just get put on this parents group chat. It is the funniest thing ever. So I love that that's the
Yeah.
same.
So, but no, I don't know. How did we end up together?
I don't know. I think it was like just close positionally, and then I think that's kind of how it matched up.
How was it for you when Tash got the call up? Because obviously, if you've worked closely together, you knew of each other.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, no, I was super excited because Tash is like we're quite similarly wired when it comes to rugby and how we approach things. Like you're probably actually, I would say, more diligent in terms of like Tash is like on it in terms of like
Is that possible?
like life, everything. She's like got her life together, and like I think like the way that we like talked over calls and stuff like that, like it just made me really proud because I know how much work she puts in as an individual. So yeah, no, super proud, but she took it all in her stride. She was brilliant camp.
You know how like you're not allowed to have favourites as a coach?
Mm.
Yeah. Is she a favourite?
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Different as a captain, innit? You can like whoever you want.
No, they're all my favourites.
Yeah. But a little soft spot.
How impressed are you by the standard of rugby at uni level now compared to what it was when you were coming through the ranks?
Yeah, like I think like the way it's improved probably, like, and you've probably got a better idea than I do, but like the last couple of years in particular, like we go down and watch the girls at Loughborough all the time, and like it's ridiculous. And the number of girls that we now get coming through into our Lightning team as well, like it shows like how quickly that pathway is developing. And I think, you know, the resources like this one that you guys have obviously invested in is massive in that, because I think before they probably were kind of like at a level where they couldn't jump up because they didn't have that kind of professional environment and all those kind of experiences that coming into an international squad is quite easy because, you know, she's been a part of a professional environment at university, been a part of the professional environment at Edinburgh. That's the bit that makes the difference, I think, in terms of like jumping up. Like you can be good at rugby and you can do all those things, but if you don't understand all the other bits that go with it, it makes those jumps really difficult and probably a bit overwhelming. So yeah, no, I think massive change.
We need to give Mo her flowers because Hartbury won the Bucks WNL. Was this the second year in a row? How many have you won?
Is it the third?
Third year?
I think it's the third.
Ooh.
Loughborough's first final.
I really should know that.
Yeah.
Loughborough's first final.
They did
that
really
was so
well.
tense.
Yeah, they did really well considering first final. And that's a big thing as well.
Sorry, we're giving Hartbury Uni our flowers.
No, I just want to give Loughborough a shout out while we're here.
Yeah, I was going to say,
They actually did really well.
Yeah, they did.
They did really well.
Hartbury got a minute there, and then we went back to Loughborough.
It's
Can you
fine.
tell?
Like,
No
they
worries.
don't need a minute.
Like any true leader. No, the girls were amazing. The final was so tense. Like, we were in camp, so we couldn't obviously get there to watch it. And we actually had a bougie room when we were in the Lensbury before the Ireland game, and we had like this massive sofa. So there was probably about 10 to 15 girls in there. Obviously, Skaz was in there, like Maud, a few of the other girls that have been obviously helping coach, and it just got well tense because like Loughborough would be right on our line. There was one scoring it, and then Hartbury would be at the other end, and it just kind of went back and forth. So yeah, really tense, but dead proud of the girls. Like, hell of a fight and unbelievable season for them again. So. Yeah.
So you talked about that jump up into the League M. If you have to look at the kind of the structural differences, so for people who have no familiarity here, what's on a day-to-day basis different for you guys to a lot of the other teams in this league? Like, do you have to drive everywhere? Like, is this completely self-funded?
So we have like a committee, which are all students. Gina, my partner, is the treasurer. So basically, she just gets sent invoices all the time. We want to fly somewhere or we want to go wherever. And if it's not in the budget, then we have to work out a way to do it. Particularly with like coaching and stuff as well. We don't have many coaches. But then things have stepped up this year. Like we have regular S&C, which we've had previously, but it's been once a week. Whereas now we'll have it 2 or 3 times a week. And there's other kind of bits. We have more training sessions. So things are stepping up. But like, I think we were saying before when you came down, like we now have all our games filmed, which we never had before. So to be able to just watch back our game that isn't some dodgy camcorder that's like all blurred and like, you've got to make up what you think happened in the game is really, really helpful. And like, I assume that other teams have people that do your analysis for you. So we take that on as girls. So certain girls each week will have to do the analysis of the previous game. So yeah, I thought all teams did this until we chatted about it. And then I realised
I've made it worse.
Everyone's like got actual like head coaches and like things like that. So yeah, it's just a massive, massive step up. But like it brings everyone a lot closer together, I think, because you literally put all your time in. I think the girls were adding up how much time they put in from this aside from their degree, and like it's hours and hours. Some of them have to like schedule in WhatsApp times because they are inundated with messages and they're like, I need to prioritise, like I need to split up my degree and my uni and stuff. So yeah, it's really intense, but
I think I need to do that. Schedule WhatsApp times. Brilliant. Scotty earlier was saying about the level of professionalism, like obviously Player.Connect and all that sort of stuff coming in, like with Vodafone's investment. Do you think that level of professionalism, have you seen a marked difference this year with it?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I mean, the Player.Connect has been really, really helpful. It takes a lot to get all the girls to fill it in, but once they do fill it in, yeah.
Busy on their WhatsApp time.
Oh, they're too busy on WhatsApp.
Yeah, you schedule that in as well.
I thought you guys are all on Snapchat.
Oh, we have
here
both,
we
but
go.
I can't keep up.
Oh.
There's too much going on.
That's because you're past the threshold.
Snapchat's like all the funny things, and then WhatsApp's the serious. You need to
Okay.
answer.
Oh,
God,
so-
I should be on Snapchat then. Scotty should be Snapchat later.
Absolutely not. I actually refuse to give into it.
No, you must just email us. It's fine, Mo.
Sometimes Skaz will drop me a Snapchat and
No,
I think,
that absolutely baffled me.
yeah. Why
When
are you
she
on
said she had
Snapchat?
it. Can you imagine?
I feel like I don't buy this. Does
No.
she have
No,
someone
she
else
does, but
doing
do you know
it?
what it is? It's like her sunflowers like starting to come. She was like,
She's
the
obsessed
other
with
day,
the
sorry, this is really left field. But the other day, she is obsessed with sunflowers, and obviously you plant them around this time. And there's a squirrel that's been haunting her since
Oh,
she's
she's
moved
mad at
into
the
her new
squirrel, she
house.
is.
But I was on FaceTime to her the other day. She was like, "Oh, mate, do you want to see my sunflower?" And I thought, "Yeah, go on then, like humour it." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys, she showed me this plant and it was like a little sprout of green, like this big. And I was like, "Guys, are you going to show it me?" Or what?
Where's the flower?
That was it.
Yeah.
Honestly. And then she's moved. Sorry. She's moved the sunflower pots onto like in a different place, and she's put a fake sunflower in her garden to try and trick the squirrel. And I just think if that doesn't sum that girl up, I don't know what does.
A fake one.
Yeah. To try and trick the squirrel.
But the squirrel isn't
Surely
going to fall
it'll
for
smell
this.
it or something. I don't know how they work, but do you know what I mean?
That is honestly one of the most rogue stories.
Yeah, sorry.
I cannot wait to have
So
a
she
follow-up
uses
conversation there.
Snapchat to take pictures
Sorry,
of a
so
sunflower.
yeah, Snapchat, sunflowers, coffees, different things.
I was
like
going to say WhatsApp schedule and then a Snapchat schedule
fun.
for the sunflowers and
Yeah.
the checkups on the squirrel. I mean, genuinely.
How do you link that one?
No, I don't know. I don't know where I go from here. I'm at a loss for words. I'm just still stuck on this poor squirrel.
Oh my goodness.
Can we? On the topic of feeling really old, all the algorithm is serving me is trolling content about how only millennials wear short hidden socks. We are going to
Slips
have
trousers down.
I was going to say, are we going to have a little sock audit here on the floor? Our Mo has got her ankle bone out, so she's definitely a millennial. There
Quite a
she
nice
is.
ankle, though, would you not say?
It's a great ankle.
Why would you not have that out?
Why would you hide that? Why would you put a long sock over it? Rachel Malcolm is
Ankle.
she's also got her ankles out, so she's old like the rest of us. Em's got the long socks. Tash.
You're so proud of that. Sorry, if you missed it for the audio listeners, Em just sat there and gave herself a little nod and a
A little
wink.
knowing nod.
I thought there'd be more, but
Yeah. So Tash, would you like to explain to us why you are dressing like an old person with your little socks here?
I just want to clarify, it's not a Scottish thing to begin with. Everyone does slag me for having these small socks, but I think it makes me look much well proportioned. Like as a second row, I want my legs looking long, and I think this is the most effective way to do so.
You've spent a lot of time thinking about
Yeah,
this.
it's something I have to like argue with people about on like a weekly basis.
I
so.
kind of respect that you stood with it though.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of peer pressure going on, and so like people think it's hard for like the young ones who come into camp. We get absolute like
Good riddance.
dog
The young
abuse.
ones are taken over.
Oh my
eh?
goodness, they're taking over, and
Yeah.
everything we do gets like the way I do my hair is a problem. Like the clothes I wear is a problem. Like the words I use is a problem. Like honestly, we're bullied.
But you know, the stripy shirt is the most millennial thing ever.
Yeah, but you've got to
Dead
just stay with
giveaway.
it. Don't
Yeah.
give in to them.
And you're not joining the Lopo gang.
Not yet.
No,
It
who
has
would
been
do that?
They did make me change to centre parting by the end of Six Nations for my hair. Which
Did you enjoy that? I don't know if I've seen you with a centre part, have I?
only in the last two games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Only for game days.
Yeah, but I'm kind of gradually trying to merge a little bit, but it's just it doesn't look good, girls.
Do you know what?
It doesn't look good.
There's like a few videos going back round of like us last year, and obviously bringing into the semi-final and stuff.
Yeah.
They're trying to promo, and every time Maud sees when she's like, I just can't even how much of a glow up your hair's had since last season, and I think that's really quite passag and a bit rude. But like, what can you say?
Literally.
What has changed about your hair?
I go like to. We have the same hair now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You complimented it the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, your match day hair.
Yeah, my match day hair.
Yes.
She was like, oh, what you used to do is terror. But yeah.
Honestly, they're horrible to us. Yeah, it's really difficult being a millennial. In
It's
camp.
hard being older. Hey, now the Player.Connect thing that you mentioned a little earlier, Mo, or was it you, Em, who mentioned Player.Connect? For those who don't know what Player.Connect is, I just want to go back there because this is really practical, and I know that even in the professional game there are some teams who have piped up and gone, can we please get a slice of this action? Vodafone created this mobile first platform that basically gathers data on players' performance and recovery, your menstrual cycle phases, your mental and physical well-being. So it basically helps you to understand the impact that your cycle has on your body and helps you to track and manage your systems, your system but also your cycle, yourself, and it allows, if you have S&C facilities in your team, for a third party to be able to access that without having to contact you and to add to the WhatsApp and the Snapchat load, and all of the thought and energy and time that you spend on whether you have a low po or dress like a millennial. that's really interesting structural change. Has that made an impact for you guys at Edinburgh, Tash?
I think it has, as one of the naggers of getting people to actually do it. Like, it's one of the first things I did when I woke up at, like, I just got in, I did it in my bed and kind of just went like that. I was like, all right, well, my ankle's a little bit sore, I'll just pop in. I said,
Tell you your ankles?
She just did a shrug.
I'll just show you about, and then like you get to pick like what colour it is, and I think sometimes that's better of like that it's not like a number, you just have to like pull it quite across, because I think putting a number to it sometimes just a bit too much. And then like logging your sleep, I think that was really like good for everyone, like, because when we're studying sometimes our hours in the libraries are, especially during exam season, are a bit outrageous, but like when people like our coaches knew this, and then they could like, if we're in a bit of a weird mood or not like ourselves, they could really account for that as well.
Did you ever find they tailored training because of that? Like, was anyone ever pulled out, or was anyone checked in on, or anything like that because of it?
I know there was conversations that happened with like individuals who, let's say, like their body was a bit dead in that sense, and they got taken like to have a wee word with. But I don't think anyone got to the point of like getting taken out or anything. Because I think some of our players are quite good at, like, if they know they're not like ready for a session, or they've like had a big night studying, then
I was wondering when you would say like, it's like super helpful to monitor our sleep, like those nights in the library. I was like,
I had really big nights studying when I was at uni as well.
then we can like, we're quite good at like taking a time off, like if we really need it. Like we get like a couple a year, and we're pretty good at like monitoring like ourselves, whether like when we should take those and like make it most best beneficial for us.
Well, one of the reports we got from Durham was on Rosie Pete, one of their freshers, who's had some massive gains in the gym from monitoring her cycle, and also just understanding how to use certain times to really maximize gains. And she increased her bench press by 138% in one term, reaching 100 kilogram squats. And then I don't know what this thing is. You guys need to explain it to me. Doing a 130 kilogram Zercher carry.
not something I'm familiar
No, I
with.
think they do it differently. Like,
What is
up
it?
north. Go on, gal.
Come on. Give us a demo
I
then.
think you have to like, hold the bar.
You must also
Oh,
hold
it's
the
like
mic.
Scott when it's here.
Oh, wait, no, I think you just have to walk with it.
Oh, what, like on?
I think you just hold it strange.
You
on
need
the
to
end
hold
of
the
the
microphone to your face, otherwise
sorry.
we can't hear you.
You hold it strange. Doesn't quite have the same effect, does it? We don't do that at
baffled by
Cardiff.
that.
We don't do that. No.
You don't do
No,
Zercher
we don't do
carries.
that at Cardiff.
So
You're
it's like,
I think
130 kilograms, just
I'm not.
In the fold
could
of
be-
your arm?
I don't know enough about it. I could be
Okay.
saying completely the wrong thing, but I think you have to hold the bar in a certain way.
Ouchies.
interesting.
Well,
Wow.
they apparently ring a
Nice
bell
then.
every time someone hits a personal best, and that bell has been working overtime over in Durham. So congratulations to them. Speaking of Durham, they, much like DMP, always struggle to get TV coverage because apparently it's really hard to get to the north. This country is not that big, but yes. They battled to get the streaming on their games, and so they've taken real accountability and responsibility for getting a stream up for their matches. And Durham have had a constant change in head coach this season with a real lack of stability, which is unfortunate because you just lose that continuity. But you guys have had Claire Cruikshank at Edinburgh Uni, and that must make such a difference because such an experienced person who is so equipped to deal with a variety of challenges. I mean, contrasted to Em and their team, basically innovating and just solving problems as they go. You guys are just in the presence of greatness.
Yeah, you could say that. But no, she makes everyone's job so much easier. Like, our team's obviously not player-led in that way, but like as president, like I don't really have to do really that much. Like, she does so much of the work and makes like my life so much easier. And it makes, when we have issues in our club when it comes to like players getting taken out and stuff like that and travelling far away, it just makes it so much easier when you've got someone who has experience before. Like, she's gone on these away games all the time and experienced stuff like that, and it makes it so much easier as players to not have to worry about that as well, and lets us perform at our best.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm diving left field. I'm so interested to hear how you find travelling so far to play the WNL games.
Like, I enjoy it. I think it's like good team bonding. I know Kieran and Nicole said before about like the team bonding in the airports are definitely something.
Oh, really?
Because sometimes we end up at the airport for stress, like, and we're sitting there for like 5 hours once before like a flight. and we're all sitting there on the floor and just like chatting away, which is really nice. But I think a few times we've tried to do it in one day, and that's quite a lot, I think, for some people's. Well, I think I'm fine, but other people, I think it does maybe come out in our performances. I think like we had our home games.
Go on, name and shame.
No, just kidding. There.
Drag
but no, like our home games like this year compared to our away games, you can actually see. I think there was a much different vibe, and like I think we got much more success at home this year compared to like away, which actually I haven't really seen in the previous years, but I think it was a big factor this year.
Fair, because our girls love it. Like the Edinburgh away trip's always the one that they absolutely adore, and they actually prefer going on the bus. I don't know.
Scotland's the best country in the world.
Awful, but they like going up on the bus and that 8-hour bus trip, which obviously as a coach you're like, oh my goodness, but they genuinely love it. You had a good experience this year, did you?
Yeah, well that's the thing. I think coming into this league, we weren't prepared for the travelling. So we didn't take it as seriously as we probably should have. So we went up to Edinburgh. I think we got an early flight. It was like a 7 a.m. flight, and then just went and like lit around the city for most of the day. And then we were like, we've got to play a game now. And the game kickoff wasn't until like 8 o'clock. So we were all absolutely.
It's easy done though.
Absolutely
Best country in the
shattered.
world,
I know.
like, just get distracted.
So next year. We'll
And you fly
do
out
it
of
more
Bristol,
sensible.
so you
Out of Bristol, so we just drove from Cardiff to Bristol,
and
the
you need to
flight
go
up.
through check-in, and then
Yeah.
you're flying. Oh gosh, that's a long day.
Yeah, and then we ended up. We were talking about this last time. We again student led, so booked the most random accommodation I've ever stayed in. It was like it was a hostel, but it was essentially like a wooden box in a church in the middle of Edinburgh.
Creepy.
Really quite creepy.
Yeah.
The mirrors everywhere, like very loud place. Yeah, brilliant. But it was team bonding. So
Yeah, I was going to say you
Yeah.
just have to kind of get on with it then. Hey,
Those are the kind of things that I think like
Bond you.
but also
Yeah.
like when you stop playing or like when you go and play for someone else and like you're like you'll remember your uni times as like remember that time we went to Edinburgh and stayed in the box like but
Yeah.
it is though like those are the things that you don't
Yeah.
you'll not remember that game that you played in Edinburgh, but you'll remember that, and I think that's
The
like
experience.
that's why I think it's Bucks Rugby is super cool in that sense. Like you do probably, especially you guys, and like what you've gone through this year in terms of like obviously it's been really tough in terms of like all the work that you've had to do off the pitch, but like that's going to make all those memories like more special than like if you're just given all that, it's you don't value it as much. And like I think that's a massive part of like sport for me is like the struggles you go through, but also like the fun times you get to have along the way. So I think those are the bits you remember.
so the bursary provided through EmpowHER from Vodafone, Edinburgh used for video analysis tech to allow the team to record their matches from multiple angles and do good review. Durham got new away kits and subs coats. What did you guys spend your money on? Cardiff Uni?
one thing we did buy, we got a crash mat. So
Actually, really good, very good investment for
Yeah.
tackling.
yeah.
Yeah. I knew Alma was. You needed to expand
blank.
on that.
You need to explain.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I was like, what else?
Yeah,
No, but Alma was looking like
yeah.
a crash mat.
A crash mat for. We haven't actually. What?
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Nothing. It's been great the whole
Used every
season.
day.
Yeah. Where do you go from here?
What is a
Start
crash
again.
mat?
Crash mat. Well,
You know, like in gymnastics, like
Yes.
what you would tumble onto.
yeah.
Kind of like that.
Big
So it
squishy
means
mat
that
so
you
that
can do
you can do lots of like contacts, but you're not hitting the ground.
Yeah, and also work on your technique.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that's been really good. I think we've just used it as well, just generally to help with like day-to-day like running of the club. So it's meant that like we had to get new kit this year, extra coaching because we've had more S&C, so it's paying for that. So like all the little bits that we would have to pay for as members of the club has been we've used that for. So that's just been kind of able to subsidise everyone, which has been really helpful.
Wow. And you guys are kind of coming to grips with this great big new challenge. So you need all of the support you can get all over the place. Speaking of support though, when Mo went down to Cardiff, did the house visit and the inspections of the facilities, also met your partner Gina, who, I mean, you have been her carer because she was diagnosed with cancer, and you've had this whole other dimension on top of the craziness of the PhD that no one will read. How is Gina? How's she doing?
Yeah, she's doing really well. She had her first rugby game back probably about a month ago. I was just in like floods of tears on the side of the pitch when she went on. Loads and loads of people had come to watch. They'd like made signs. Like it was like we didn't win the game, but that wasn't the point. Like she got the biggest kind of cheer when she came on, and it was for like it wasn't a uni game, it was a club game, and we were explaining afterwards to the other team why one player had got such a massive cheer when she came on the pitch, and they were all absolutely astounded. And I think the amount of rehab that she's had to put in has been insane. She had surgery back in April last year, and then rehabbed pretty much full back in October, and then had complications and had to have another surgery. So she's then had to do the same rehab again. And we have a great physio called Ben, who's just absolutely amazing. We call him Rehab Officer. And he's had a group of them who've all had as an ACL injury, someone's had a neck surgery, and they've all been able to rehab together. So that's been amazing. And they've all then graduated and been able to play. So yeah, she's doing really, really great.
So the mentoring for you, Mo, that's quite a lot that someone is dealing with, and you're trying to help and shepherd and guide them through the process.
Yeah. I mean,
you probably thought, how have I ended up with this person?
no, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, luckily you're a coach. I mean, you've got a bit of experience.
But I think the way that you hear talk about Gina, and just the way that you approach life, like didn't need a lot of help. Do you know what I mean? Like I think the way that you handled it, always with a smile on your face, always in such a positive aspect. And obviously meeting Gina as well when we came down and did that, like the pair of them are just unbelievable. So for me, it's been a massively humbling experience to actually have conversations, and I think it's worked both ways, to be honest. It's been awesome.
Just puts life into perspective.
100%, yeah. And also just that, like, you can always go after it. I think when Gina said that she was delaying her surgery initially because she really wanted to play. What game was it? Was it varsity?
We had our cup final.
Cup final.
It was in the Prince Party Stadium. So she was like, "There's no way I'm not playing." And I didn't realise at the time that she wasn't allowed to do any activity after this procedure that she'd had. And I found out when we were doing that podcast.
Yeah.
That's what she.
You handled that well. You just
I was like, what? Okay, right.
You did what?
Yeah.
But I just think like little stories like that, it just puts everything into perspective, and you're like, what a woman. But also the way that Em's dealt with it, and how supportive you've been, and how much of a light you've been for Gina through it, I think is massively impressive. So yeah.
When you say it went both ways, what did you get out of the experience of mentoring someone?
Oh, loads. I think obviously, like, you can just tell you're a breath of fresh air. So to be able to speak to you, obviously be on the calls, be able to hopefully improve your confidence, which I don't know if I'm not claiming it at all, but I think from the first time we had a conversation to the chat we had the other day, just the difference in how you approach games and how you approach what you're doing is pretty vast, in my opinion. I don't know if you feel the same. We'll talk about it in a minute. But no, just to see that almost growth, and I said, to be able to hear your story, and not only that, but be able to shed a light on it, like through the use of the podcast and the chat that we had, I think is massively important, because there will be other people going through stuff like that, or there will be other people that don't know that you need to go and get checked and all of that sort of thing. And I think that's hugely important as well. So just everything encompassing, I think it's been really valuable.
So just for context, for people who didn't listen to, because it was on the YouTube channel, but if you were a listener to the audio podcast, you might not have heard the story yet. You've only been playing rugby, 2 years?
Yeah, this is my third year.
So this is your third season of playing the game.
Yeah.
You have great ambitions, but you are battling with confidence, and that's the thing. When you entered and said you would like mentorship, that was the thing that you said you wanted to address. It's really poetic for me that, Mo, in a season where you have grown so much in your own confidence, this is the thing that you've been both living in your own journey, because you have come on in such massive leaps and bounds over the last 12 and 24 months. And you've been going on this journey with someone else who's kind of going through the same thing, which I think is just beautiful. Do you take heart when, because Mo speaks really vulnerably about her own journey and where she's come from over the last few years. Do you take a lot from that?
Yeah, no, I was thinking about this on the train up, and I didn't say this to you because you're probably going to be like, you live under a rock, or I get emotional. But yeah, didn't really know a lot about women's rugby. So when I found out about this, I didn't really know who Mo was.
I'm not offended.
But that's, Gina was absolutely like, do you understand who is mentoring you? And I was like, oh. So I did a bit of a Google, obviously. And I was like, oh, okay, you're quite big time. And then I thought, all right, I'll watch the podcast and see like what it's about. And the first one that I came across was the one where I think Scouts had just come back from the World Cup,
Oh, I bawled
and
my
you were
eyes
like
out.
talking, and I was like, I found it really, really emotional. I thought like, the Mo that you see there is the Mo that I get to see. Like, you're the same person, I think, on both sides. And I thought like that, this is like a really special thing to be a part of, and you've been like massively vulnerable. And I think when we had our first call, you spoke a bit about the World Cup, and like I thought for you to do that is such a massive thing when you don't really know me at that point. So yeah, it's just been really special, I think, to be a part of.
The generosity. I love that. And you, Tash, I mean, learning from and being able to bounce ideas around with someone like Rachel, what was the tone of what you wanted to get out of the mentorship relationship, and how did that go for you?
Well, my main aim is like, I've played rugby since I was like 7, so kind of like a bit different. And like it's been the main constant in my life, and like it's my everyday, and it's what I want to do hopefully when I'm older. So knowing like Rachel has like got the job that I would like when I'm older in terms of like a contract for Scotland, she was the best like insight for me into how to get there in terms of like what I need to do on pitch and off pitch, like as a leader, and like my environment at uni as well, and what I could take into there.
That's interesting. How much rugby did you guys talk? A lot?
Yeah, we had quite a few calls.
Like I kind of said before, like Tash is very like got her life together. Like makes me feel like I need to be slightly more organised sometimes. So like it's quite nice. I can like we were really kind of got into like probably more like the finer details of our game. Like obviously as a second row, like a lot of the stuff we looked at was around your line out stuff, wasn't it? And then that was cool in terms of coming into camp. I think the development I saw in like particularly like the little details around the line out in terms of like your movement and like just like some really like small tips around it, like the way you developed in that period within the Six Nations was huge. Like when you first came in, probably like what you did, like not struggle, but then like you were like probably like a little bit shell shocked by coming into that new environment. By the end, like she was flying, like absolutely flying, and like you looked like you'd always been a part of our set piece. So like I think that was massive. But no, we like. And like we looked a lot about your kind of physicality side of things as well, didn't we? And it was quite cool at the start because Tash was playing for Edinburgh, so like we could like kind of basically week to week look at what she'd done in the game and like kind of start to look at setting goals for each of the games coming up and stuff like that. So
it was like review.
We kind of did, yeah.
It's nice having like someone with like fresh eyes on like watching my games. I think quite a lot of the coaches I have are quite consistent in my life, and so like there's some stuff that they miss that it's nice having someone else to watch. And we did create goals after each game and going into the next game knowing that I had someone watching like just me, and it like held me accountable in games as well, because obviously in the Edinburgh Rugby like there's a squad of like 30, like the coaches can't be having this attention for every single person, so it was really nice having that like attention to detail, and even stuff I didn't even realise, like going into line out, like sometimes I just look kind of stressed.
Word for word wise.
Yeah.
You look kind of
I look
stressed.
kind of stressed, which I obviously don't like.
We did establish some boundaries before we started. I was like, right, are you good with direct feedback? And then just come in and go to Tash like, you look kind of stressed. Yeah.
No, but stuff like that, like what I wouldn't realise, because that's something you miss just in like looking over a game, and something like coaches like don't even realise. So like even stuff like that has been so useful and like invaluable to like take on and go into experience, like coming into the Six Nations squad and stuff like that.
So how you carry yourself, not just what you do, but what that looks like, and the perception that you're also looking to create as a player is of being in control and having that calm sense of, at least on the outside, being in a position of confidence, because that's also half of the mental battle that you're fighting, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the other good thing about like the Edinburgh Rugby. I think people came in and out because although I was like kind of like a line out leader in a way, but you had people coming in and out had like really good experience. Like Fee McIntosh came in and she was very helpful in the whole running of the line out, and we kind of worked on that together. And I think like taking the composure she had as well, and I think learning off other people has been really helpful in that.
That's really interesting. I didn't anticipate there'd be so much rugby discussion. I genuinely thought it would be more, leadership and professionalism.
So the bit around the stress was kind of around her leadership of like the line-out, because Tash was calling the line-outs at the time, and probably fair to say the Edinburgh line-outs weren't going as well
planned
as you would like. So like we kind of looked more at like how she could influence the other people around her better. So I think like coming in and like not necessarily rushing that process of making the call, because that then makes the people in that line out stress. Whereas if she comes in, takes a breath, and also like your movement can influence other people as well. So like you were a little bit like tight and like coming in like this and like quite stuttery, whereas by like I would say the end of Six Nations, like she was like super loose, and then like as someone else in a line out, that makes you more calm and like influences you. So like it was kind of more about how can like your comms and your body language influence the other people in that set piece to help it like work better. So yeah, with like the leadership side of things was quite more around like the set piece. I think I was lucky because Tash was in camp. It kind of meant that we could just like work a little bit more organically. Like we have like skills sessions where like our player led, so like we can choose what we do. So we could like just kind of do things off the cuff and be a bit more hands-on with things than maybe like the other girls would have had the opportunity to, which was quite like really nice.
Did any of you cover how to speak to coaches, how to approach a Prem club?
Yeah, we did a bit of that. We did a bit of that. Not necessarily the Prem club. I think it's more about having confidence in herself, getting that starting jersey, and then seeing what's next over the next year or so. I'd say that's massive. But we spoke about coaches, about how to potentially influence as well, wasn't it? Like different decisions being made, or like different ways you could have those conversations. And
What are the different ways? Em?
Put me on the spot now.
I can't remember even what I said, but in the moment it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, it's gone from my head.
Yeah. But I think obviously for me, I've coached in the WNL, so like I know what it's like, and almost you want people to come and have those conversations and like hold you accountable as well as a coach. So I think it was just giving you almost the confidence to be like, it's okay to go and challenge and to have those conversations as long as you're doing it in the right way. There's no issue with that. But ours was definitely, it's really interesting. We've all done the same program, but obviously done it very differently. Like ours has probably been way more around the mindset stuff rather than like actual technical and all of that sort of stuff. But hopefully we're getting Emma up to see Maudie Muir soon.
Really?
Yeah, so that's in the next few weeks, just to give her some front row little pieces, little snippets to take away.
That's a big deal.
Maud's buzzing as well.
I'm
Honestly.
sure she is. I've never seen Maud not buzzing about almost anything.
Yeah.
She's got so much energy, but
She's a
also
little cutie.
just so much passion for what she does.
Yeah.
And that, are you really excited?
Yeah, no, I'm a bit nervous, I'll be honest.
No,
But,
She will be clumsier and
Yeah.
sillier than you will. So don't worry.
and she's been running into posts recently as well. This girl can't stay on her feet. Realised that obviously her shoes are way too big for her. That's like the big thing.
Oh my goodness.
No, she genuinely, she wears size 9 boots. Her feet we think are a size 7, so that's probably why she falls over so much. But anyway, we were doing skills the other day, and you know when you're like up against the posts, and that's like stay square, run towards the post. Honestly, the post absolutely rattled, and without anyone needing to look, we were like, that's Maudie. 3 times it happened in the same 20-minute skill block.
Yeah, so you've got nothing to be nervous
Yeah,
about.
exactly. You'll be
Right,
fine.
right.
You'll be
So
fine.
what does this do to your ambition, Em? Being exposed to someone like Mo and then getting a greater understanding of the journey that she's been on, but then also going in and having these direct engagement opportunities with people like Maud Muir. Where do you want to go next? What have you set as far as goals go for yourself?
I think you just kind of opened my eyes to like there is other stuff outside of like once I finish uni, there are other avenues to go down, and it doesn't have to stop after the WNL. So, and I think, yeah, I guess it just showed me that like I can get there if I want to get there. It's about the work that you put in and all of that. So, and I think having you building me up helped. I remember we played Hartbury away. I think it was when you guys had won the league, and you were stood watching. I was thinking, oh my goodness, like, I hope you didn't see me just do that. Like,
You were well nervous, weren't you?
but yeah, no, it's just like good, and like all the uni girls are like, this is so cool. Like, they're all buzzed. So yeah, it's just been a really, really great thing to be part of, and just kind of opening my eyes to what there is. And I think in Wales it's quite difficult because you don't have that club level, the same as like in England. So yeah, it's just given me kind of a bit of a broader look at what there is available, really.
How big an impact has Rachel and the time that you've had with her, Tash, had on the step up you've had to make in the season from playing uni rugby to going into a national setup? Like, what are the things that you now look at and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I managed to address this, or I had this background or this knowledge or this practical advice because it helped me make that leap?
I think it's still kind of go back into like the technicalness of like rugby, which like details that like I didn't even think about, and now you made me like start thinking about like time and tackle and areas around that we don't focus maybe as much as in club as they do in like national level. So like when I did go up, like that's the bits that are so like the highlights of like what they focus on. So I was already getting like accustomed to like thinking in that kind of mindset, which was like really helpful going in, especially because like I kind of came in like out of surprise. So like it made it so much easier to kind of understand what was going on when I like after our conversations.
What does the road look like for you now ahead? I mean, you've got another year of uni left?
Yeah, I've got another year of uni, so.
And then in terms of your rugby plans, is the Celtic Challenge, is that the solution? Is that the thing that's going to inspire you to keep playing?
I think I'll definitely
your region?
hopefully play this coming year in the Celtic Challenge, because I'll be in Edinburgh anyway with my degree. And then I think hopefully that gives the option in like the coming years, whether like it gives you an option of maybe staying in Scotland or going down south to play in the PWR. When before, I think when we were slightly like a couple of years ago, we all only thought like going down south was the only option. But obviously we have to see how that plays out, whether the Edinburgh Rugby League gets like any bigger, because right now it's 10 games, which is great, but obviously that affects like the uni timetable and everything as well. So that's what will make this year really interesting. So off the back of this year, I think big decisions will need to be made. But obviously, I'd like to be back into the Scotland environment, hopefully, as well, because like being in there was so infectious, and I'd love to be back, hopefully.
You were smiling when I asked that question, Rachel. Have you got recruitment plans?
I was literally in my head going, Loughborough.
I don't know what you mean. There's no Scots at Loughborough.
Like a tunnel from Edinburgh down to Loughborough, I swear to God.
I built it.
A little express train that just goes all the way down to Loughborough.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, I think Tash and I will continue to work together for sure. I think we, like, similar to what Mo said, like we've both enjoyed the process, and I'm now very much
Invested
in what Tash is going to do going forward. And I think even just seeing like how hard she works and the progress that she's made in a short period of time makes me quite excited about how good she has the potential to get. So, yeah. When
we approached you to be part of this program, why did you say yes? Because you have enough to do. I mean,
this is probably like the part of like, and I don't know if like you agree with this, but like being slightly not Gen Z and a bit older, this is probably more what like I get satisfaction out of as a player and a leader now, is like seeing the development of the other people in my group. So like I love when like young girls come into camp and like to see like them evolve in that environment and kind of be able to bring like some of the learnings I've had, but also kind of learn from them as well. Because like, for example, like sometimes in camp you can get a bit sore and tired, whereas someone like Tash comes in with this like infectious energy and like it's also new to her. Like that's like, I'm like, God, like I'm taking this for granted a little bit at times, and I think like that's also really important for us. So I think, yeah, I said yes just because I love like helping players who are passionate about what they do and kind of have the potential to grow, and yeah, that's kind of what drives me as a leader as well. So yeah, it's a no-brainer.
I completely relate to that. Genuinely, the younger people that I work with and seeing people who've really got the gas to go at it, and you can just see things clicking and people learning new skills and developing and growing, and it's so infectious.
Mad. This is actually not too far-fetched, but what would it mean to you if you were in the same Scottish squad? As in, you pull on the shirt together, sing the anthem together.
Yeah, like I
quantify
think
that for me.
No, it would be massive, just because I think like I probably came into Tash's journey of quite like a transitional point in terms of, obviously before this, like she hadn't maybe like been close to like a call up to Scotland, but to come in and spend pretty much the entirety of from week 2 onwards as fully part of the squad, and like a class part of the squad as well. Like I think to be involved in that transition period has been really special, but I think, yeah, like there's loads of things that I think we'll probably continue to work on, and I think, yeah, it would be super super proud. But I think, like I said before, Tash is so hardworking, so it would really be absolutely nothing down to me.
If one day we see you carrying that ball off the bus, Scotty's going to be behind you in floods of
Crying.
tears. Yeah. That's my girl.
Along with both of our dads.
With the camera.
They just stood there taking photos.
No, actually, I've got a really good example of my dad doing that. So came out to do my warm up against Italy in the Six Nations. Like, and like at that point, you're like kind of like somewhat. I'm actually not a very in the zone kind of warm upper anyway, but at least like you're in like. You're probably not
half a zone
supposed to be like. So I like kind of like hadn't seen my parents yet. They'd obviously flown out, and I was like, "Oh my god, hi!" And my dad's like, "Come here." So I think something's wrong. He's like, "Get in with your mum." And I was like, "Dad, no,
Not
like,
now.
no, not now." Like that's an example of like the level.
Oh,
so yeah,
I
you'll see a picture of the four of us at some point.
He's a content creator. You can't hold it against him.
Gotcha.
I mean,
He's actually learned how to edit pictures recently.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he was born in the wrong era. If he was 20 now, he'd be working digital. If this program had been around when you were in a crucial developmental stage at Uni Mo, and you were 20 years old and you could have had access to this kind of mentorship, how much of an impact would that have had on you?
Yeah, I think it would be massive. I think you obviously get out of it what you put in, don't you? And I think like there's so much room for development with it. I think like to Scotty's point, being able to actually try and influence and be a part of someone's journey is massive. Like it's something that I really enjoy doing, and like seeing you grow throughout this has been incredible, and I've genuinely loved it. So if that was a potential back in the day for me, I think it would have been invaluable, like what you guys are saying. But hopefully now like we're on this trend and we can just keep going with it, because it's been really special both sides, hopefully.
And I think the message that I'd love more players to take from this, regardless of at what point of your career you are, whether you're a club player, whether you are new to the game, or whether you are in the twilight of your rugby journey, is to always know that it's not your job to have all of the answers. Your task is just to find the right people to speak to, bounce ideas around, ask other people for input. There is no value in trying to solve all of your problems alone. We're all on this journey as a collective, and rugby is a team sport for exactly this reason. I think it's so empowering to hear all of you talk about what you've learned and how you've grown, but also how in being the mentor, sometimes you also learn. And that's the great value of a great mentorship program. We haven't mentioned that Em is a goal-kicking front rower. Which probably is the thing we should have led with, because, this on this here pod, we like when women kick the way that our Skazi does at the 22 tour. Can we organise a kicking session, forwards versus backs, kicking session, Em versus Skazi?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Same
funny.
day that you go see Maud.
Yeah,
How about
bring
that?
her down. Make Scaz travel. That's what
Make
I
her
say.
travel.
Yeah.
There we go.
100%.
Okay, well, we've set ourselves a target. Em, make sure you put in a few extras there. Make sure that you don't let the forwards down. Hey,
I
no
would
pressure.
love it if you beat her. They beat her at the passing challenge. So if you come in and you
I do actually think she beat us at everything else.
don't say that. Cut that out.
No, so we were all doing the crossbar challenge. Everyone misses like a million times. Skaz comes in one track, gets it. And actually, all the young ones were like, "Wow!" And me and Nelly were like,
Yeah, she is. Classic Scaz, that.
A classic. Well, if you have been listening to this and you'd like to take Skaz on a forwards versus back kicking challenge, but also if you just want to be part of EmpowHER, this was V1. And our friends at Vodafone are so fired up for where we are going to take this next. So we're really excited about seeing Em and Tash and everyone else who's been on this program and everyone involved with our partner universities in this phase develop and grow and stake their claim in the game, but also for where we hopefully will be taking this project in future. Thank you so much for coming all the way down from Scotland, north of the border. And Em, thank you so much for coming in from Cardiff. It was great to have you here in the big house. Rachel, you've never actually been on the set with us.
No, it's lovely.
It's
Welcome.
great to
Comfy
have you
sofa.
here.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not our normal.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it not? It's great.
No.
yeah, this is the Labradoodle sofa.
Yeah. Guys, before we go,
Yeah.
You've got one, have you?
I've got.
Yeah.
The Good
Okay,
Disguise
phew.
and Rugby scrunchie brought
Disguise-
to you by our friends at Bonsi has just emerged in Mo's hand. Em has very, very short hair. Please take it home to Gina and send our love. Tash, no pressure. We can't wait to see you rocking your GSR scrunchie.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. You only get them if you're like on set, so
Yeah.
there we are.
Stressful.
Are you a low-po girl or are you with the millennials and the rest of us at the top bun?
I'm normally.
She likes her hair down because the proportion of her face.
To be fair, at the end of the game,
It does make her look longer.
to be fair, at the end of the game, it normally looks somewhat down by how bunched it all is together. But no, this will keep my hair up, hopefully, and beat the second row hair.
Nice.
Love that. We are The Good, the Scaz and the Rugby, brought to you by Vodafone. The Good, the Scaz and the Rugby is a folding pocket production produced by Shara Kilgallen.